In this video, you will see the summarization of Section 2 of Heart of Darkness, the major role of similes and metaphors in this section, Conrad's portrayal of equality, the nature of evil, and imperialism. This section begins with Marlowe sleeping on his steamer. He then wakes up when the manager and his older uncle appear near him. He pretends to be still asleep as he listens in on their conversation about Kurtz. They discuss how Kurtz has sent a load of fine ivory 300 miles down the river, and just as he was about to reach the destination, he claimed to be sick and traveled all the way back with 4 natives, while leaving a clerk to finish the business with the ivory. The two also expressed their hatred of Kurtz. When they implied that they wished he would die, Marlowe got surprised and jumped up from his fake sleep. They almost immediately ran away after that, and the manager's expedition soon disappeared. Soon afterwards, Marlowe's steamer is finally repaired. He, the manager, and the crew travel up the river and soon find a hut with a stack of firewood near it at the riverbank. There is a note on the wood telling them to come take it for fuel, so they stop by it and go inside the hut. The manager remarks that it must have been left by a Russian trader, which he seemed to feel aversion towards. Marlowe implies that the manager seemed to also feel slight covetousness towards the Russian. The next day, Marlowe and his crew get near to Kurtz's station, with only a few miles left to reaching it. They decide to temporarily stop as the night is very silent and dark. The waters are dangerous and there is a heavy fog. Towards dawn, the crew hears the cry of some savages, and they prepare for war. Marlowe and the natives on the steamer do not worry, but everyone else is shaken up. There is also a group on the ship referred to as the cannibals, who have been hungry for a month and wish to eat the savages on shore. Out of fear, the pilgrims shoot at the savages on shore. During the small battle, one of the natives on the ship, Marlowe's helmsman, gets stabbed. When the fight is over, Marlowe simply throws the dead man overboard, and he feels disappointed at the thought of Kurtz being dead. Now Marlowe takes a moment to pause from his story. He digresses and begins to speak more about Kurtz. A really interesting note he makes is how Kurtz has this sense of possession over everything, including the inner station, ivory, even his fiancée in Europe, which he calls his intended. Marlowe also mentions how he feels a responsibility to remember Kurtz and continually talk about him. He asks himself if Kurtz was really worth the lives lost in his pursuit. Then Marlowe returns to a story where he was throwing the dead helmsman overboard. The pilgrims worry that the man didn't receive a proper burial, and the cannibals mourn the loss of a possible food source. The pilgrims also celebrate what they thought was a big victory, but Marlowe is skeptical the inner station is still standing and there were no significant deaths, which turns out to be true.
Suddenly, the crew sees the inner station which they thought was destroyed. A white man that turns out to be the Russian trader beckons to them from the shore. He wears ostentatious clothes and talks quickly and continuously. Everyone gets off the steamer to find Kurtz, but Marlowe stays to talk with the trader, whose words sound dubious at this point. The trader tells Marlowe he was right when he blew the steamer's whistle to scare off the natives. He also adds that the steamer was most likely attacked because the natives don't want Kurtz to leave.